Hey guys! Today we're going to be looking at my process for a personal illustration for fun. If this were a paid illustration, I would draw the pencil outline completely and then transfer it to the watercolor paper. But since it's for fun, I start drawing right onto the final paper with just a small thumbnail I use to rough out the composition. I begin by roughing out the shapes and general placement before applying any details. Once I'm happy with the placement, I start finalizing lines of characters and then the background. I'll usually finalize pencil lines for anything I feel would be difficult to ink correctly the first time. Anything left rough means I know what I want and I feel like I can articulate that directly with ink, so I won't waste time on pencil lines. When I'm ready to start inking, I usually start with the characters, but sometimes I'll start with areas that need more detail. For this illustration, I started where I knew I would need to use a template. I don't use templates often, but will use them when I need perfect shapes, like circles. Typically, when I'm inking, I will bounce around. I'll focus on small detailed areas, then when I get tired, I'll move on to something else. In this piece, I focused on the background details, then when I was tired of geometric shapes, I switched to the organic lines of the people. If I get bored or frustrated, I bounce around or take a break so that I won't ruin the piece by accidentally overworking an area. Once I finish the inking, you'll notice while some areas have lots of details inked, some areas I would rather detail in watercolor. For this illustration, I planned for the details of the foreground elements to have detail with color. The wreath and cats will be a good example of this process. After erasing all the pencil lines, I put away most of my inking materials and pull out my palette brushes and water. I usually take a break in between inking and color just to look at inked lines one more time with fresh eyes. You may notice I use 2 cups of water, one for warm colors and one for cool. This keeps the water from getting muddy while I'm working. For this piece, I started with an overall color to tie the whole piece in and cover the background. I then start to add a basic layer of color to all the areas until everything has a base color. Once the base colors are finished, I switch to the details. I use a small round brush and a small flathead brush for most of the details. Just like I did while inking, I tend to bounce around while adding details and color. This is also the point where I'll pull up any references while painting. Since these 3 cats are mine, I pulled up pictures to get their facial markings accurate. Once I finish with the watercolor, I do one more final step with small micron pens and white gel pens to put some final details that help to decorate and enhance any areas that I feel need more attention. This usually also helps the piece to add bits of white and break up the color. After finishing the piece, I photograph or scan it, then clean it up and edit it in Photoshop. Then it's ready to share with everyone else. Thanks for watching my first art video. I hope it was interesting and maybe helpful. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see more art-related films. And remember to live, love, and travel on. See you next week. Bye!